Okay, I got a button. One of my viewers sent me a button, a Great Seal button. Lance McKillen sent me a button here to test out because he was having some odd results in 54 kilohertz on the Deus. It's a little Great Seal button. I can't really read the back of it. It's not a, it's a Newark RL manufacturing company. I think it's a reproduction, but it has been used, so it's kind of worn out a little bit, and it's a little bit of wear and tear on it. So, and I also have a big Great Seal button, a Waterbury button with the shank on, and I'll test that one in a second. But what he did was, it hits it in 14 kilohertz, but what his test was, he put it in 54 kilohertz and just was not hitting it, right? And this is the skin effect also too. This is a skin effect. If you watch my videos on the skin effect on the coins, the stacks of coins, it's the same thing. The same thing with this lock too, right? Because it's multi-layers of brass, right? There's no iron in here, right? There's no iron in here, right? Solid brass. Solid brass, right? Solid brass, right? Solid brass. So the higher frequencies do not like the skin effect, right? So I'll turn the machine on here and I'll just test it out. Just sweep it over my coil here. Kneeling on the concrete without my knee pads on, but that's fine. Hot program. Hopefully I have this coil engaged here. Yeah, this coil's engaged. So I'll go down to 54 kilohertz. Oops, wrong one. 54 kilohertz. Actually, I'll try 31 kilohertz first. I'll start out with 14 actually. It'll hit it, 14. And I've known this to be a fact. Oh, there goes my Deus rolling away. I've known this to be a fact that the higher frequencies do not do well on the skin effect targets. 31 kilohertz. It's struggling on it, right? But the higher frequencies that you go, the more sensitive this coil gets right up here, right up in the top portion, right? That's what I like about this coil here. When you're an iron, you don't want to be really sensitive all around the coil, right? You want to pinpoint really small targets. That's what the high frequencies is. You want to do with the high frequencies. You want to get those lower conductive targets or those smaller targets, right? I'll just sweep it over the button here. 31 kilohertz, right? It's hitting it pretty good. Now 54 kilohertz, right? Watch this. I'll put it right over the crack here so it's straight up and down, right? It's not doing very well, so what I could do is drop my reactivity down to 2. That might help a little bit. No, if I drop it down to 0, it'll probably hit it really good, but nope. I'll go up to 3 or to 2.5, and now I'll ground balance it to 80s. I like my ground balance really negative, so I can get my coil a little bit more sensitive, but 83 is hitting it a lot better, right? But here's a warning right here. Disclaimer about dropping your ground balance too low. You will get so much minerals, and it'll false on the minerals, and it'll false on hot rocks, it'll false on coke, and they sound just like coins, right? But 14 kilohertz hits this anyway, so usually when I get to a site, I run in 14 kilohertz first, and then 31, and then 54, right? After many hours of hunting that site, many hunts, I'll eventually go up to 54 kilohertz. Unless there's a lot of foil. If there's a lot of foil, like in a really super trashy spot, I'll put it in 31 or 54 kilohertz to pinpoint that foil really good, right? And this is my normal, Normally what I ground bounce to is 79 to 82, sometimes 81. But watch what happens when I go down to 60, right, or 72. It's hitting it big time, right? Hitting it big time. I'll go down to 60. I never have tried to even operate this machine at 60. See? Right? Right? There's a reason why I don't run it, my ground balance really, really low. Banging it out, right? Now I'll sweep over this other button right here. Actually, I'll try to go to I'll return to normal, 90, and I'll put these two nails in front or on each side of the 91. I'll put these two nails right here on the edge of it. Actually, I just realized that this is a screwdriver, not a nail, but he was hitting it in stock program with two nails, right? No, it's not gonna hit it still. In 54 kilohertz, stock 54 kilohertz, not gonna hit it, right? And actually I'm at 2.5 reactivity, so I'll go up to 3. It's not gonna do it, right? If I go down lower, if I go down to 0, it will not hit it, right? Right, because it's elongating those tones on the iron, and those iron tones are masking, completely masking that target. But what I'll do is I'll go back up to 3, and 2.5, and then drop my ground balance down a little bit here. See if it'll hit it. To 878. No. Right. Now I'll try that other button, that big button there. Right there. Right. 54 kilohertz, the big button is not hitting it. But I'll go down to 14 kilohertz here. I'll raise my ground balance back up here. Just trying to figure it out, right? Just experimenting a little bit. Learning about the machine, right? So I'll go up to 3. Check that. No. I'm going to 14 kilohertz and just bang it right out, man. 31 kilohertz. Right here. No. Not going to do it. 14 kilohertz will just smack it right out. Right? Smacks it right out, right? 14 kilohertz is deadly, man. With these high frequency coils here. And I'll even sweep over this coil here at 14 kilohertz, right? Or this lock at 14 kilohertz, right? Bangs it right out, right? Now I'll go to 31 kilohertz. Nothing, right? Now I'll try to ground balance it, or since it's such a big target there, I can only drop my reactivity speed down. I'll drop it down to 1 here. Oops, went too far. Nope, not going to do it. But I can I'll raise my recovery speed up to 2.5 and drop my ground balance down, right? The ground balance has a lot to do with it, all right? I'll go to 82, 83. 83 is hitting it, right? And that's usually what I have my ground balance set at, you know, 79 to 83 or so. You know, some places I like my ground balance positive, some places I like my ground balance negative, and I'm always changing it, right? Those are the two settings that I really change a lot, is my frequencies and my ground balance. That's the most I change on this detector. No matter what mode I'm in, I'm always changing my ground balance and my frequency, right? Has a huge impact on your recoveries, what frequency you're in. I think most of all, it's what frequency you're in. And the different coils here, you know, I can't really put a lot of power to these coils here, right? The HF coils, because it doesn't have a TX boost or a TX gain. The black coils, the X35 coils, I can raise my gain. You see how all this EMI is here, right? I can try to frequency shift here, but 31 kilohertz just in this area just does not work. All right. So watch, I'll go down, lift the coil off the ground here. I'm at 90 gain, right? And usually with this coil here, I don't go above 92 gain. With that coil, I can pump that coil up to 96 or 98 gain. Once in a while, I can get it up to 98 gain, but you know, I end up digging a lot of nails with that coil if I pump the gain up too much. But you know, the higher frequencies, when you drop your ground balance down really low, if you have a negative ground balance, it makes it really unstable coil, right? It makes it hypersensitive. And if you're in some hot ground, you might fall on some nails or whatnot. And if you're in some stubble, or if you're around rocks and you just bump your coil a little bit, you get a lot of falsing. And you know, if I'm in a spot that has a lot of hot rocks, there's no way I can go below like 85 or 86. You know, I just get so many hot rocks. I have a lot of areas where there's a lot of hot rocks. But you know, you gotta tune your detector into certain sites, and I think, you know, 14 kilohertz does excellent for an all-around frequency. You know, 31 kilohertz, you know, I usually don't start off right at 31 kilohertz on a site. You know, especially if I've been hunting there for a lot of times, a lot of hunts, and I do hit a lot of spots that are beat up. You know, the 14 kilohertz works good on the deeper targets, and it works good for you know, the higher conductors. Hits coins really good, but 31 kilohertz, it really gets those smaller targets. 54 kilohertz is really a specialized frequency. You know, after you've really beat a spot up, or if you're in some really thick iron, you know, you're not going to go very deep in iron, a thick bed of nails anyway. So, you know, the 54 kilohertz is going to do it, you know, the higher frequencies. And I've noticed that when you do go on the higher frequencies, I'll show you here. I'll put my camera back on my head here. When I do go on the higher frequencies, it makes the coil really sensitive right up here, right? Especially with the 5x9 and 74 kilohertz. It makes it very sensitive up here, right? I can pinpoint a lot better up here instead of the center of the coil. But when I drop my ground balance down to a negative ground balance, it actually sensitizes and it powers the coil up a little bit more around down in this area. But you get a lot of falsing, you know, a lot of coins will sound like a hot rock if I go below, you know, if I'm running too much of a negative ground balance. You know, just to get a little bit more performance out of the machine, I drop my ground balance down. Pretty much in all my videos, I have a negative ground balance. You know, you see it kind of noisy every once in a while, then I'll change my ground balance. But I really don't show you that, guys, that in my video, because I don't want to have to be always adjusting my detector during my videos. But this test, you know, just proves that the higher frequencies do not like the skin effect, you know, stacks of coins and whatnot, you know. But you can drop your ground balance to negative, but there's a warning. If you drop your ground balance to too far negative, you're going to be getting a lot of hot rocks and a lot of minerals and a lot of nails in the ground there, and you'll get some falsing signals. But I'm learning a lot about that negative ground balance setting that I use. You know, I can tell if it's a hot rock, or if I can tell that it's foil. You know, if I have my ground balance set too low, it'll false on that really deep foil. It'll give me high tones. It still gives me the foil tones, but it gives me high tones every little bit on my rotation. So there we go. There's a little experiment. Thank you, Lance, for sending me that button. And I will do some more testing on that button with the Deus 2 in multi-frequency. I know that the Equinox performs very well on that small button, and even that large button in multi-frequency in Park 2 and Field 2, but you know, that's only running at 40 or I don't really know what frequencies it's running at, you know, in the multi-frequency, but the 40 kilohertz on the Equinox does not hit that small button. Doesn't hit that big button very well either. And with the Equinox, I can't really do that ground balance trick. I've never figured out what the ground balance really does on the Equinox, to tell you the truth. Every time I try to set my ground balance manually or automatically, it just messes the Equinox all up. I just end up having to turn the machine off and on, and just messes it all up. So I just leave it at stock, you know. I may have struggled in the past, you know, trying to ground balance my Equinox to my soil, but you know, I learned that just leave it at 0 or leave it at factory preset. You know, same with the Simplex. You know, the Simplex operates very good at just a, you know, 90 ground balance, and with the Deus, it works good at 90 ground balance, but with these high frequency coils, you're not going to be really punching too deep in the ground there. You know, I want to go a little bit deeper than, you know, I want to push the coil a little bit. So ground balance has a lot to do with your depth with the high frequency coils. But that ground balance can hurt you if you have it set wrong. So, and you'll know. That's what I like about the Deus. The Deus tells you what you need to set, right? Once you get in tune with the Deus for a few hundred hours, you know what the detector's telling you. So you just push a couple buttons and it fixes it right up. With other machines, you know, sometimes you just don't know what to do. You don't know what the metal detector's trying to tell you. But with the Deus, once you become tuned in with the settings, you'll understand what your metal detector is telling you what to set different. You know, you can change your swing speed, or you can change your frequency, you can change your ground balance, you can change your reactivity. You know, those are the main things that I change on. I'm always adjusting on the Deus, and it's just fine balance, you know. Well, thank you for watching. Please subscribe.